The music downstairs pulsed through the wooden floors, faint, muffled, too far away to hold me. I wandered through the long, narrow hall of the estate, heels in my hand, my feet bare against the cold parquet. Laughter echoed behind me, but I didn't look back. My chest felt tight. My temples throbbed. The air inside me too full of champagne, noise, pressure. I passed doors, all closed, all unfamiliar, until I found one, slightly ajar, the guest room near the end of the hall. Inside, dim light from the storm outside, a tall window, a heavy armchair, a bed too large for one person. It felt safe. Not mine, but no one else's either. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me. Alone. The kind of alone I hadn't felt in years. Rain raced down the glass like tears. The storm now had a voice, deep, guttural thunder in the hills, and wind that pushed at the frame of the house. The lights flickered once, twice, then went out. Darkness swallowed the room whole. Only the pale, flickering light of lightning through the curtains remained. And then I heard it, a quiet click. The door, opening again. I didn't speak, didn't move. Part of me wanted to scream. Another part hoped. Footsteps, slow. No shoes, quiet but unmistakable. Then, Anna, Lucas. His voice, low and warm, already part of the darkness. Are you all right? I turned toward the sound of him. Just needed a moment. I could hear his breath now. He was close, but not yet touching. You left so suddenly. I nodded. He couldn't see it, but I felt it. He knew. I don't like these kinds of parties, I said softly. Because they're fake? Because I am. A silence. Long. Heavy. Not judging. Then, you're not, he said. I moved toward the window, instinctively. The rain was louder here. I could smell the wet wood, the earth outside. Behind me, I heard his breath shift. He was walking toward me. I didn't turn. I didn't have to. His presence filled the space behind me like a second shadow. I shouldn't be here, he murmured. Then go, I whispered. He didn't move. Neither did I. When I turned, finally, his face was close. The flickering light from the storm caught in his eyes, dark and searching. I couldn't tell if he was angry or afraid or something else entirely. He reached out slowly, fingers brushing against my wrist. A chill ran up my spine. You're trembling, he said. I know. Why? I swallowed. Because I think if you touch me again, I won't be able to pretend anymore. A beat. Then his hand rose to my face. Not rough, not hesitant. His thumb traced my cheekbone, then slid down across my jaw, pausing at my lips. His touch was warm, too warm, like I was burning from the inside out. I shouldn't want this, I said. But you do? My voice caught. I don't know who I am when I'm around you. His mouth was close to mine now, breath mixing, not kissing, just there. His hand slipped into my hair, cradled my head gently, and then our mouths met. No urgency, just release. The kiss was slow, deep, aching. The kind of kiss that doesn't ask permission, only gives. He tasted like rain and longing and something I'd been dying to remember. My hands gripped his shirt, fingers curled into the fabric. I pulled him closer without meaning to. His body pressed to mine, firm, warm, solid. Lightning flashed again. For a second, I saw us reflected in the glass, silhouettes locked in something more than a kiss. His mouth left mine and moved to my neck. My head tilted back, my lips parted, but no sound came out. He kissed the hollow beneath my ear, down, down, the curve of my collarbone, and my knees softened. He held me there, as if I might float away. He whispered, "You don't have to be anything tonight." Just those words, and I felt the tears press behind my eyes, because no one had ever said that to me, not once. His hands moved lower, settling on my waist, fingers splaying over the fabric of my dress. He leaned in again, not to kiss, just to breathe against my skin. Slow, deliberate. My whole body lit up like the storm outside. We stood like that, pressed together in the dark, breathing each other in. Every second stretched. Every second dared us to go further. And we would have. We were already falling, but we hadn't hit the bottom. Not yet. The room was still, but I wasn't. Lucas's hands pressed gently against my waist, his breath warm at my neck. My chest rose in rhythm with his, every inch of my body tuned to his. The storm outside raged, but it was nothing compared to the one inside me. I didn't speak. Neither did he. Words would ruin this. There was only skin, breath, hunger. His mouth moved again, slowly, reverently, from my collarbone down to the edge of my dress. The silk slipped beneath his hands like water. He tugged the strap off my shoulder. It fell with a whisper. So light, so deliberate. My skin was exposed. To the storm-chilled air, to his gaze, to everything I'd been afraid to show. And he didn't hesitate. He kissed the hollow between my breasts, soft at first, then firmer. His hand slid under the fabric, pushing it down slowly, until I stood in front of him, nearly bare. I didn't cover myself. I didn't look away, because in the dark I was free. Anna, he breathed. My name on his lips wasn't a name. It was a plea, a promise, a prayer. I reached for him, my fingers under his sweater, exploring the heat of his skin, the strength of his chest. He let out a low sound, not quite a groan, not quite a sigh, as I pressed my mouth to his. It wasn't gentle anymore. He laid me down on the bed like I was something sacred. Rain beat the windows in frantic rhythm. The lightning made shadows dance on the walls, but in here, time stopped. His finger slid down my stomach, slow and certain. I was open beneath him, kneading, burning. When he touched me, truly touched me, my entire body lifted off the sheets. A gasp tore from my throat, unfiltered. He didn't stop. He watched me like I was his only religion. His hand moved in perfect rhythm, not too fast, not too soft, exactly what I didn't know I needed. My back arched, legs trembling, every nerve pulled tight, drawn toward a center I could barely hold. "Yes," I whispered. "God, don't stop." His mouth found my breast, his tongue circling slowly, teasing. My fingers clenched the sheets. I was spiraling. Close, so fucking close. The heat swelled inside me, unbearable. I was shaking, lips parted in a soundless cry. His fingers never stopped, his breath at my ear. And then, boom, a flash so bright it lit the entire room. Crack! The thunder shook the glass. Then, a distant shout. Someone outside, panicked, urgent. Another voice, screaming something about fire. Lucas froze, his body still pressed to mine, fingers still inside me, but motionless. We both breathed hard, listening. Then, the unmistakable smell of smoke, burning wood, outside. My orgasm collapsed inward, shattered before release. My hips bucked involuntarily, searching for what I'd lost. "Don't," I begged, "please." But Lucas was already standing, moving to the window. His voice was low, tight. Lightning hit the gazebo. It's burning. I sat up, slowly, my legs still shaking, my skin flushed and aching. Downstairs, voices, people shouting, running. And then, Richard, yelling. "Anna! Anna, where are you?" Panic sliced through me like cold metal. Lucas looked at me, eyes wide, hands clenching into fists. We were half naked. My dress was tangled around my waist, my lips swollen, his fingers still wet, and none of it could be undone. I pulled the dress over myself fast, trembling, my body still screaming for what it almost had. Lucas grabbed his sweater, yanked it on. His chest rose and fell like a man on the edge of war. The doorknob rattled. I froze. Lucas stepped into the corner, into shadow. The door opened. Richard stood there, out of breath. "There you are. Jesus, are you okay?" I nodded. My voice was gone. He didn't even look behind the door. "There's a fire outside. Come on." He turned and left, expecting me to follow. Lucas stayed in the dark. His eyes met mine one last time. No words, just the echo of everything unfinished. I stepped into the hallway on trembling legs. Downstairs, the guests were panicking, people with umbrellas, smoke in the air. But all I felt was the ache between my thighs, and the emptiness where release should have been. I would dream of his hands that night, the heat, the promise, the stolen breath. And when I woke, I'd still be aching. He was gone by morning. No note, no message, just gone. The bed still smelled like him. My body still ached from everything it didn't get. But Lucas had vanished. At first, I thought it was temporary. A few days, a trip, an explanation. I waited. I checked my phone. I told myself I wouldn't care. But I did. I asked Richard, casually, trying not to tremble. He shrugged, said something about family, left in a hurry, don't know much else. That was it. No further questions, no chance to ask more. The days became weeks, weeks dissolved into months, and with every silence, something inside me hardened. At night, I still touched the place he had kissed, my neck, my ribs, between my thighs. I hated myself for remembering. but I couldn't forget. Eventually, I stopped waiting. I smiled when I had to, attended dinners, answered calls, laughed at Richard's jokes, and when he touched me again, I didn't pull away. He wanted children. He made that clear. And I was his wife. So I said yes, not with words, but with obedience. I gave him my body, but never again my fire. It was late. The house was quiet. We were supposed to be in bed, but Richard had poured wine and started talking about names, future plans, properties, nurseries. Then his hands were on me, and I didn't stop him. The library was dim. Books watched us from the shadows. A storm was threatening again, low thunder rolling in the hills. He pressed me gently against the wooden desk. "Here?" I asked softly. He smirked. "Why not? Something new for once." He kissed me, firm, practiced. His tongue moved quickly, too quickly. My body responded, out of habit, not desire. His hands pulled at my blouse, fumbled with my skirt. "I missed this," he whispered, lips against my throat. "We should do it more. We'll never get a baby like this." I nodded. My hands went to his waist, unbuttoned his pants. I wanted to want it, but I didn't. He entered me fast. No preamble, no patience. My breath caught, not from pleasure, but adjustment. He groaned. I closed my eyes. He moved, hard, focused. I tried to breathe with the rhythm, tried to imagine someone else. His hand, not Richard's, his mouth, his voice. But it didn't work tonight. The wood beneath my back was cold. His fingers dug into my hips. I forced a soft sound, something like a moan. He liked that. "You feel so good," he panted. "I love you like this, Anna." I smiled, lied with my mouth, with my body. But inside, I was far, far away. And then, something shifted. The air, like it remembered something. A silence that wasn't just silence, it was a presence. I opened my eyes, and there, in the doorway, Lucas. Soaked from the rain, hair dark and plastered, shirt open at the neck, eyes wild, locked on mine. He didn't speak, just stood there, watching. For a moment I couldn't breathe. Richard didn't see him. He was lost in the movement, the goal. But Lucas saw everything, saw my hands on Richard, saw Richard's body inside mine, saw my blank face, and something inside him broke. I saw it in his jaw, his fists, his stare. Not pain, not jealousy, rage. He didn't move, didn't shout, but I felt his scream in my chest. And then, he was gone. The door clicked shut behind him, and I felt like I'd just been struck by lightning. I pushed Richard away a moment later, but it was too late. Everything had changed. Again, the smell of coffee hit first. Dark roast, too strong for my stomach, still tight from last night. I stepped into the kitchen barefoot, silk robe tied in a knot too tight at my waist, and there he was. Lucas, sitting at the table like he'd never left, like the last 6 months and the last 6 hours didn't exist. He wore a crisp white shirt. His hair was damp, combed back. Calm, too calm. "Good morning," Richard said. looking up from the paper. Look who showed up out of nowhere. I stared at Lucas. He didn't even look at me. Was a long drive, he said, taking a sip from his mug. Thought you were dead, Richard joked. Vanished without a word. Lucas shrugged. Family stuff. No explanation, no apology, no glance in my direction. Just that damned even tone. I sat down across from them, heart pounding. My fingers shook as I reached for toast. I wasn't hungry. I needed something to do. So, Richard continued, cheerful as ever, you back for long? Not sure yet, Lucas said. Depends. Well, you're always welcome here, you know that. I gritted my teeth. Welcome here, after 6 months of silence, after watching me break from across a room, after last night. And now, he wouldn't even acknowledge me? How long was your family emergency exactly? I asked, the edge in my voice barely hidden. Lucas finally looked at me, cool, flat, unmoved. Does it matter? I blinked, stunned. Rage flushed under my skin, hot and rising. Richard noticed nothing. Anna, he said, smiling, I forgot to tell you. I have to fly to Geneva tonight. 4-day conference, boring stuff. Of course, I murmured. My voice sounded thinner than usual. You'll be all right here? He added. I forced a smile. Perfectly. Lucas stood. His chair scraped gently against the wood floor. I'll take the upstairs office, he said, not looking at either of us. And just like that, he left. Silence fell again, but this one was louder than anything. My coffee sat untouched, my hands cold, my heart burning. The house was too quiet without Richard, and too loud inside my mind. I poured myself a glass of wine, red, dry, older than our marriage, then wandered through the halls barefoot, letting the silk of my robe cling to my legs. I needed silence. Not for peace, but for rage. The library felt like neutral ground. Books, whiskey, leather. A fireplace still warm from earlier. I sat in the armchair, pulled my knees up, and opened a novel I wouldn't read. I could still feel Lucas's eyes on me. Last night. Watching. Judging. How dare he? After disappearing for 6 months, after making me ache, then leaving me to rot. And now, back like a ghost with a smug face and empty eyes. The door creaked. I looked up. He was there, Lucas, leaning against the doorframe like he belonged in every room. Still in that dark shirt, sleeves rolled, hair messy from rain or maybe his hands. His eyes didn't move. Didn't think I'd find you here, he said, voice low. I didn't answer. I sipped my wine instead. He stepped in, quiet, calm, too calm. You've changed your perfume, he said. I narrowed my eyes. You're 200 days late to notice. He smirked, but there was no humor in it. Thought you didn't keep track. I slammed the book shut. 6 months, Lucas. No calls, no texts, not a word. And you dare to stand here like nothing fucking happened? He leaned closer. And what would have been the point? You looked busy last night. My hand trembled on the wine glass. You watched us. You know I did. Then you should have left. I did. You should have stayed gone. He stepped closer. Maybe I wanted to see if you still let him fuck you with your eyes closed. The glass hit the carpet, wine spilling like blood. I stood. You don't get to say that. You left. You erased me. You made me feel like I imagined everything. You didn't imagine a damn thing, he growled, his voice cracking. I left because if I stayed, I would have taken you in front of him. The air between us sparked like static. You're a coward, I said. He stepped closer. You're a liar. You watched me. You saw what you did to me. And you moaned for him anyway. Because I'm his wife. Not in that moment you weren't. His hands were on me before I could speak again, gripping my arms, pulling me in. Our mouths crashed. Teeth. Tongue. War. This was not a kiss. This was a punishment. I bit him. He groaned, pressed me harder against the wall. His hand slid up my thigh. Not slow. Not sweet. Claiming. Tell me you didn't think of me while he fucked you, he growled. I shook. Said nothing. Tell me he touched you like I do. Still nothing. He grabbed my face. Say it. I whispered. Broken. I wanted you. Every second he was inside me. He groaned deep in his throat, a wounded animal, and lifted me up against the bookshelf. His mouth devoured my neck, my collarbone, my chest. The robe slipped off one shoulder, then the other, then gone. I'm going to erase him from your skin, he murmured. Do it, I whispered. He didn't give me time to breathe. 1 second I was standing, skin bared, heart hammering, and the next I was in his arms. My back hit the bookshelf with a thud. Leather, oak, cold, but his body warm, hot, unyielding. He kissed me like he was starving, tongue plunging deep, teeth scraping my lip, hands rough on my thighs. I moaned into his mouth and he swallowed it like a drug. You're not walking out of here tonight, he growled. His voice was wrecked, shaking, raw. I pressed my forehead to his. Then ruin me. He groaned like he couldn't take it anymore. One hand hooked under my thigh, lifting me. The other slid between us, finding the heat between my legs. So fucking wet, he hissed. Tell me it's not for him. It's not. I gasped as his fingers pressed inside me, deep and slow. It's never been for him. His eyes locked on mine. No one touches you again, not after this. Then make me forget him, I whispered. He dropped to his knees. The floor was hard. He didn't care. He pulled me to the edge of the low leather chair, spread my legs wide, and stared like he was praying. And then his mouth was on me. He licked like he needed to drink me. Deep, slow strokes of his tongue, flat and firm, then fast, then slow again. He sucked my clit like it owed him something, groaned when I trembled. Say my name, he whispered into me. Lucas, I choked out. Louder. Lucas! He pushed 2 fingers inside me, curling them until my body jerked. His tongue never stopped. My hands fisted his hair. I was gone, unraveling. My hips bucked, and then I broke. I came with a cry I couldn't hold back, legs shaking, toes curling, vision white hot. He didn't stop. He licked through it, kissed my inner thighs, whispered things I couldn't understand through the ringing in my ears. When he rose, his mouth glistened, his eyes feral. He pulled me up roughly, spun me around, bent me over the desk. His belt clinked, zipper undone, a low animal groan as he freed himself. I turned my head, tried to look, but he was already inside me in one deep, devastating thrust. I cried out. He didn't give me time to adjust. He pounded into me hard and fast, hips slamming into my ass, breath ragged in my ear. His hand gripped my hair, pulled my head back. You think of him when you touch yourself? No, I gasped. He thrust deeper. Say it. I only think of you. Do you still feel him in your body? No. Good. Because I'm about to fill every fucking inch. He slammed into me again, and again my body shattered against the desk. Books fell, wood creaked. The wine glass from earlier tipped, red bleeding across paper. I didn't care. His hands were everywhere, one squeezing my breast, the other sliding between my legs, circling my clit while he fucked me from behind. I want your scent on my sheets, he groaned. My mouth, my cock, my fucking soul. Then take it, I sobbed. He pulled out suddenly, spun me back to face him, lifted me onto the desk again, and plunged back inside. This time watching my face as he filled me, I cried out, again. You're mine, he said through gritted teeth. My Anna, my obsession, my goddamn undoing. I wrapped my arms around his shoulders, dragged my nails down his back. Don't stop, I whispered. Not until you scream. He kissed me again, hard, desperate, as he drove into me over and over, our bodies slick, crashing together. He bit my bottom lip. I bit his shoulder. It wasn't just sex. It was annihilation. It was two people trying to destroy every barrier that ever separated them. My body trembled. The edge was so close. He felt it. Come with me, he growled. Now, come for me, Anna. And I did. We did. Together. With moans that weren't soft. With gasps that weren't clean. But broken. Real. We collapsed onto the desk. Tangled. Shaking. Panting. I felt his heart hammering against mine. He kissed my shoulder once. Gently. Then the side of my neck. Then behind my ear. He didn't say a word, but I didn't need him to. Because everything had just changed.